Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? It's a pleasure to be with you. I see some of you guys have already connected a little while ago, so it's great to see some people. I see Koos. I think I've seen you before. I think I recognize you, Koos. So welcome back. I see Desi. I see Aloysius. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, you can tell me. But welcome to today's lesson, you guys. We are going to be studying part two of advanced adverbs. All right, it's an interesting lesson, of course, as the name suggests. It's a lesson that's a little bit more advanced, a little bit more difficult, but not too much. If you haven't seen the lesson already, go back to our YouTube channel where you can see all the other lessons and, of course, part one of advanced adverbs. And you're going to be able to understand really well what we're going to talk about today. So that's just in case you haven't watched it yet. But of course, if you have, welcome back. And we're going to continue with part two of advanced adverbs. My name is Cuau. Some of you already know me. I'm a tutor on Cambly. I've been a tutor for a few years, and I really love it. So I want to know about you guys. Where are you from? What are your names? Well, I see your names, of course. I see Antonio from Brazil. I see Eun from South Korea. I see Erva from Turkey. That's awesome, you guys. Who else is here? Who else wants to say hi? Tell me all about yourself, you guys. We're going to wait just 1 or 2 more minutes to make sure that some people are connected and to make sure that we don't lose some people. Kalipan, hey Kalipan, it's always nice to see you again. Okay. All right, awesome. Oh, I see Christos from Greece, of course. It's a very Greek name. Awesome. So we're going to start in just 1 or 2 minutes. But like I said, you guys, in the meantime, say hi, say where you're from, just to give everybody a chance to really connect. And we're going to go on with part two of advanced adverbs. All right. As I was saying, my name is Cuau. You can look for me on Cambly or just Google me. That's who I am, and I'll be teaching the class today. All right. I'm really well, Kalipan. Thank you. Thank you so much. I see Omobanin from the UK. Awesome. I see Ahmed from Sudan. Saiful from Bangladesh. Awesome. So we already have a nice little group here. You guys are going to be helping me, or I'm going to answer some questions. But the point is, I want everyone to participate just to make sure that, you guys really understand, everything is clear. This is an advanced class, so it's a little bit more challenging, okay? Make sure that if you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat, of course, and I'm going to try to answer them. All right. It's great to see you too. It's a really big pleasure. I see someone from Japan. Awesome. Aqua from Yokohama, also in Japan. Awesome. So several people from Japan and Asia. Today, there are a lot of people from around the region, from different countries. So that's really nice to see. I have a lot of students from that region. I have some people from India, some people from Japan, China, Korea as well. Of course, it's a big country. So awesome. We are going to go along with advanced adverbs. And what are we going to study about advanced adverbs? Well, because we already studied part one, I assume that you're already going to be able to understand some of the things I said. If something that I say is a little bit confusing or you didn't get it, you can, of course, watch part one of this lesson. And you can also watch other videos that are related to grammar on our Cambly YouTube channel. I've made several, and you can either click the bio and click the whole library and check them out, or you can just search for them individually, right? We've explained, not only me, but of course other tutors have explained parts of sentences like a noun, a verb, what is a subject, an object, what is a grammar formula, things like that. So if anything is confusing, remember that you can just check it out on the other videos, all right? But today, Shinya. Okay, awesome. Also from Japan. Awesome. So you see, there's a lot of Japanese people here today. Awesome. So we already know what an adverb is. If anybody can give me the definition of an adverb and you write it in the chat, that would be awesome. Tell me, you guys, what is an adverb? Because we're going to start off right away with a hot question. What is adverb placement? Okay. Where do we put an adverb, or where should it go for it to be correct? For those of you who have taken my class privately on Cambly, or for those of you who have watched the other videos, you know that English can be very, very strict when it comes to word placement. All right. Can you hear me well, you guys? Just to make sure that I don't move the microphone too far. So, word placement is really, really important in English. Okay, super important. It's so important that we have something that's called a grammar formula. Now, a grammar formula says where each word should go depending on the function. Okay, so sometimes there is a word type that can have two functions, like a noun. We can put it here or here. But a verb can only go in the middle, right? And it's so important because we cannot change the order of these things. We cannot switch it around normally. It would be very unusual, and it's very important that we respect this formula. Exactly. It always has to go exactly like this. We always have to say subject, verb, object. But you guys are telling me an adverb says Kalipan is a word that modifies or describes a verb. Excellent, Kalipan. Yes, very good. Antonio says it modifies the verb. And some other people, for example, Erebus says adverb placement refers to the position of the adverb in the sentence, of course. Hello, Miguel. Hello, Izaharuddin, sorry, from Pakistan. Awesome, you guys. So remember that if you arrived a little late, you can just wait until the live is over and you can rewatch the whole video. And of course, on the Cambly channel, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe now and give a like to this video, comment so that we know that you guys are enjoying these free lessons and it allows us to keep doing them. Okay. But you're going to be able to watch the whole thing, this and other videos on the YouTube channel. So don't worry if you missed just a little bit. Okay. So yes, we already know what an adverb is, but where should an adverb go? What do you think, you guys? Where should an adverb go? We already said that normally English grammar is very strict, so almost every word has a very specific place. We can only put the subject here, we can only put the verb here, and we can only put the object here, right? This goes for negatives, it goes for questions, it goes for complex tenses like the present continuous. So where should we put an adverb? Let's think of a word like before the verb says amambanin. What do you think, you guys? Do you agree? Should it go before the verb? What do you guys think? Oh, this has a little streak. Okay. So in the beginning of the verb says Kalipan. That's interesting. So a lot of you guys are saying that it should go here, right? Before the verb. Kalipan says an adverb can modify a verb, of course. So where should an adverb go? That's actually a really weird thing. Okay. We already said that an adverb modifies the verb. And normally, a word like an adjective needs to go right next to the word that it's modifying. For example, we can say a big car, a nice house, a beautiful person, an intelligent student, right? So the adjective goes right next to the word. It's adjective plus noun. And that is because it needs to indicate what it's modifying. A sentence can have 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 nouns if you want it, but a sentence can only have one verb. And Omobanin says, she eating well. All right, so she is eating well, you would say. Exactly. Omobanin also told us that the adverb can go in the beginning, and that's right. The adverb can go almost anywhere in the sentence. Okay. Normally, it goes in the middle or at the end, but there's nothing wrong with changing the order or the placement, rather, of an adverb. Desi says, it depends. Today, I have an English class, or I have an English class today. Exactly. Desi is correct. You can really do it wherever you want. Sometimes in the beginning, sometimes in the middle, or sometimes at the end. All right. There are general habits, but there's no formal rule that says that the adverb placement is wrong if you change it. Okay. So an adverb can go here before the verb, here before the subject, here before the object, or even at the end. Okay. All of these, I'm going to make those errors a little bigger. All of these are correct. Okay. All of them. And you can use all of them somewhere around here or at the end. An example, can somebody give me an example? I'm already thinking of some. I already wrote an example, but I want you guys to help me. For example, Kalipan says, quickly, slowly, daily. Yes, those are examples of adverbs, but can somebody give me an example of a sentence with different adverb placement, like Desi did? Kalipan says, he ran quickly. Awesome, perfect. Yes, that's correct. Desi, can you help us out with another example of different adverb placement, or anybody else? Someone says, I watch YouTube. That's a correct sentence, but it doesn't have an adverb. Kalipan also says, Jane coughed loudly. That's great. Of course, he adds the clause to attract her attention. That's good. Amobanin says, he works hardly. That's an interesting little adverb. I recommend, Amobanin, that you watch the part 1, because he works hardly doesn't really mean what you think it means. She read the letter quickly, says Miranda. Very good. She read the letter quickly. Desi says, I probably won't attend the competition. Right. Probably is your adverb, and it goes before attend, your verb. Yunbin says, I absolutely love this book. Very good. Antonio says, the singer sings very well. Excellent. Jajak says, they are starting yellow bananas? No, that's incorrect. So all of these little things are great examples of how you can put an adverb in different places among the sentence. So that's rule number 1 of advanced adverbs. That normally in English grammar, we have a very strict order and a very strict formula, right? But not with adverbs. Because in an English sentence, we only have one verb, it doesn't really matter where we put the adverb, because the only thing that an adverb can modify is the verb. So even though we put it in the beginning, it's still clear that it's modifying the verb. Or if we put it here, or if we put it here, or if we put it here. An adverb can only modify a verb, right? So because it can only modify a verb, it doesn't really matter where you put it. It's always clear that it's modifying the verb, all right? Now, Jack says, oh, there's a little mosquito here. Jack says, they are eating yellow bananas. So no, actually, remember, those are not, I don't know if you're getting confused with adjective, Jack, but those are not sentences with adverbs, all right? Those are sentences with adjectives. Unbin says, I usually get up early in the morning. Awesome. Exactly. So those are examples of how we can put an adverb in different places. All right. Good. Now, let's do this. So something happened with the printer, but don't worry, guys. I'll help you read this. It's conjunctive adverbs. This is, Jack says, they're eating faster. Faster is not an adverb. It's a comparative adjective, Jack. So, can anybody help him or her? Maybe use that sentence and change it so that it has an adverb. Like I said, for some reason, the ink fell off. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you guys what this letter is. What this word is. What I was saying is we have conjunctive adverbs, okay? And it doesn't even matter that this word isn't really visible because there are few specific examples, okay? Conjunctive adverbs connect two ideas, all right? And when they connect two ideas, they're usually separate clauses, all right? So, for example, if you say you can connect two, like I was saying, two separate aspects or two separate connections. For example, she wanted to eat cake, however, she was on a diet. So we're connecting two clauses, okay, with a little adverb. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you use this one specifically or different ones. This one says nevertheless, all right? So let me see if I can write it. So never. Okay. It's just to give you guys an idea of how it should look. But of course, like I was saying, you don't really have to say exactly this one. You can use the other ones. And you can use, obviously, other conjunctive adverbs, okay? So this example, nevertheless, would be a negative conjunction, okay? Less. And many conjunctions have this implication of being a little negative. For example, I love going to... No. It would be something like, I didn't pay for extra fries. Nevertheless, the waiter gave me extra French fries. Okay. I see in English. Okay. Very good. Erva says a conjunctive adverb is a part of a speech that is an adverb by design but has the characteristics of a conjunction. Exactly. Very good, Erva. So, like I was saying, there are several examples of this. However, therefore, nevertheless, moreover, there are a few more. Consequently, thus, etc. So we can use them differently, but they're pretty specific in the way that we can use them. We just use them to connect two clauses, all right, as a conjunction. And these clauses, remember, should be independent. If they're not independent, you don't need an adverb always. So use these when you have independent clauses that you need to connect. However, thus, moreover, therefore, nevertheless. Can some of you guys give me an example of a sentence using a conjunctive adverb? These are a little longer, all right? These are a little bit different, but I think it's going to be easy for some of you. So give me a sentence using a conjunctive adverb. Here are some examples, like I was saying. However, therefore, nevertheless, moreover. We also have consequently or thus. So I'll wait for you guys to tell me some examples. All right, and then we'll move that because it looks ugly. He is... Okay, I think that's a typo. Don't worry, I'll wait right here for the next one. So Give me some examples, you guys. Give me some examples of sentences with conjunctive adverbs, and then we'll move on to the next part. Lilith says, I don't like watching competition shows. Nevertheless, I really love watching quiz shows. Very good. I can dance, however, I can't sing. Very good. Kaliban says, I like you a lot. In fact, I think we should be best friends. Good, good. Awesome. Erva says she can be stubborn. Nevertheless, she's a loyal friend. That sounds like me. So, very good, Erva. I am also very stubborn. Great example. All of these examples are really, really good, and you're using them correctly. Okay. Amolvanin says he is unwell. However, he works. Right. So you could also say, however, he goes to work. I think that would be a little clearer, but very good. Very, very good. You're my friend. Nevertheless, I feel like you're taking advantage of me. Very good, Kaliba. So great. All of you guys now understand conjunctive adverbs. Now, we're going to go on with one that I think is even a little easier, but it's still part of this complex or advanced lesson. So let's go with relative adverbs. All right. As you can see here, I already have it very clear what relative adverbs are. Okay. Relative adverbs are basically the WH questions, right? Who, what, where, when, why. All right. For those of you who don't remember, WH questions define something relative to the sentence. Okay. Usually, when we're using them as an adverb, we add it as a relative clause. But we can use the guide of the WH questions: where, when, why, who, what, etc. Okay. So, for example, we have a main clause, and then we have a relative clause connected by where, when, who, why, or who. Right. The other adverbs, the adverbs of place, the adverbs of time, the adverbs of frequency, we already learned them in the first lesson. Okay. And they're very similar. Right. They're very, very similar. But when we use the adverbs as relative adverbs, we connect two clauses. Remember that this is a clause, okay? SVO, a segment, or sometimes a sentence that can be written individually or independently, right? So a relative adverb uses this to connect two ideas or two clauses. Remember, this is an important detail, okay? Dviesh says, I wash my hands, therefore my hands are clean. Very good, very good. So all of the conjunctive ones are clear. Liam says, moreover, I stayed alone at my accounting firm, not from accounting firm, Liam. But good, yes. So now, relative adverbs, like I said, are kind of easy. They're not super, super, super difficult. But what do you think? Do you understand relative adverbs? I'm going to write an example for you guys. This is the place where we met. And I already see some people helping us with a definition. Erva says, a relative adverb can be used instead of a relative pronoun plus a preposition. Yes. Kalipan says, they're talking about an era when a promise was a promise. Very good. Very, very good, Kalipan. That's a really good sentence. Says, okay, those are all conjunctive. Good. So yes, a relative adverb can be used instead of a relative pronoun plus a preposition. So this. She has hypertension. Okay. So very good. Very good examples, you guys. But now let's go on to the relative adverbs. So where, when, why, and who. For example, we could say a sentence like, this is the place where we met. This is the place is responding to where, right? Where. This is the place is SVO, so it's one clause. This is the place object. This is the place. Okay, so this is the place is already technically a sentence. It's already grammatically correct, and we don't really need to add something to it. However, we can add a relative clause, right? Where. So this is where we met is the relative clause, and we're giving more information using a relative adverb. Okay, where, when, etc. It could also be other little examples. Can you give me an example of a relative adverb in a sentence? What do you think, you guys? Help me out. Give me an example of a relative adverb. So, we're going to finish quite quickly today. There's only one more little segment that I wanted to explain, and then we'll answer some questions because we do have a little bit of extra time. Or I could explain something more difficult about adverbs, whatever you prefer. Okay, so you guys help me with a relative adverb. She is a person who loves the moon so much. Great, Lilith. Who is your relative adverb here? She's the person, or she is a person, right? We don't need the, or we could say it. I'm not saying it's wrong, but you could say she is the person or she is a person, right? Very good. Kalipan flipped it and changing the order says, when I can remember a time when I could eat 4 hamburgers. Okay, very good. I can remember a time when I could eat 4 hamburgers. So sorry, that was the normal classical order. Very good. I can remember a time when I could eat 4 hamburgers. Or as I was saying, you could flip it and you could say, when I could eat 4 hamburgers, comma, I was very happy, or I was very young, or something like that. I also remember a time where I could eat 4 hamburgers. It was a great time. Erva says, the place where we met him. Okay, good. That's not exactly relative, but it's still one of those adverbs. Yes. Okay. Lilith says, couldn't decide, but you're right. Okay, good. That is a good park when we met last night. Well, Ewan, what if we say something a little bit clearer, like, it was raining when we met. Or last night it was raining where we met. Speaking of the park. Divyesh says, I came to attend the Cambly lesson on my PC when I found, I think that's an N? Yes, when I found sugar ants or something like that. Can't really see that. But very good. Very, very, very good. So I think you guys are catching it. So awesome, you guys. Do you have any questions about relative adverbs? Aqua says, do you know the reason why he was fired from his company? Awesome, Aqua. Very good. We help her as she needed. Okay. All right. Very, very, very good. So, excellent. I think you guys understood the relative adverbs. As we were saying, they're very simple to use to connect 2 clauses, and I think you're giving great examples. But do you have any questions? If you don't have any questions, just give me a thumbs up, and we'll continue to the last part of the lesson. Okay? Rona says, where can I learn how to talk fluently and confident my broken English? Well, Rona, it's funny you should ask, and I'll plug it here. Cambly is a platform that has thousands and thousands of tutors from all over the world. We're all native speakers, and our job is precisely to teach you English. From beginners, intermediates, to advanced students, there are a lot of people who use Cambly for reaching their English learning objectives. Some people want it to practice. Some people need to take an advanced lesson. But whatever you need, you can probably find a tutor that is appropriate for you. For example, you can even take classes with me. I am a private tutor on Cambly, so that means that you can take one-on-one lessons with me. And all you have to do is go to the Cambly website, join a plan that's convenient for you. There are some very long and intense plans, and there are some that are a lot cheaper, a lot more accessible, and with less time, just to allow you to experience it a little bit, right? So that's one of the most practical ways that we would say you can improve your English. You do need a tutor, or at least it is highly recommended. It's the best thing that you can probably do, okay? So join Cambly if you haven't joined yet. Sorry. Join if you haven't joined yet. And like I said, you can search for me. You can just Google my name and my Cambly profile will be the first thing that appears. It's Cuau, Cambly tutor, right? And you'll see it right away, all right? So I hope to see you there on Cambly. I hope many of you join, or we will eventually see each other there. So, okay, I see some thumbs up. Antonio says, when I first traveled abroad, USA was the first country I visited. Okay, good. Excellent. So let's go to the last part, you guys. Adverb modifiers. Do you guys know what an adverb modifier is? Some of you have already been using it, and it's not difficult. We just say that it's advanced because it's probably something that hasn't really been explained so clearly to you yet. Okay? So an adverb modifier. What is that? And says, I always loved your lessons when you taught me. Oh, that's so great. Well, it's a pleasure to see you here as well. Remember that you can just it would be great to hear from you. So send me a message on your profile if you still have it, or, well, we can keep seeing each other on the Cambly Lives. So it's great to see my students as always. Okay. Now, adverb modifiers. What are adverb modifiers and how can we use them? Kalipan says, an adverb that modifies a verb, adjective, or another adverb. Great. So it's like another layer of modification, right? We already saw that adverbs modify something in the sentence, usually the verb, or they can define or explain some little extra information. But an adverb modifier adds to that modification, right? So it modifies it even more. It can modify a verb, it can modify an adjective, it can modify many things on an extra level. Farjano says, adverb modifier are the place. Okay, no, that's not. So great. Okay. So, like I said, adverb modifiers just add to the meaning of an adverb, to the meaning of a verb, to the meaning of the adjective. It adds something. So Kaliban says, Alex was running slowly. The girls ran quickly but happily through the puddle, says Divyesh. Great. I went to the store after I finished my homework. Okay, that's a little different. It's good. It's a good sentence. The story was very interesting, Kaliban. Very good. So here's the thing. Adverb modifiers sometimes are used to add to the adjective in intensity, in emphasis, in something like that. For example, here, these are not all adverb modifiers. There is one word that is not an adverb. Can you identify the word that is not an adverb? Tell me, you guys. Tell me in the messages. Lilith says she is very talented at playing MOBA games. Okay, good. Khalipan says very. Very is not an adverb. What do you think, guys? There is one word here that is not an adverb. Which one is it? Which one is not an adverb? Which one breaks the rules? Lilith says something different to Kalipan. So Kalipan says very. Lilith says talented. What do you guys think? The rest of you, what do you think? Are they right? Are they wrong? Is it something different? Tell me in the messages, you guys. What is it? What could it be? Mm-hmm. Ellen says, I'm doing my work quickly. Good. That's a type of modification. Mm-hmm. But it modifies work. So, the word that isn't an adverb. You give up? I'll just tell you the answer. I see some people writing. Okay, I'm going to wait just one. Okay, Kalipan changed. Firjana. Okay. So, the word that isn't an adverb, like Lilith said, Lilith was correct, is talented. Okay. Talented is an adjective. But I wanted to show you guys because we still need to practice identifying adverbs. Remember, you should do that every day when you're studying, when you're reviewing lessons. It's always really, really important to review the past lessons because a lot of people forget. So whenever you study something new, make sure that you don't forget what you already learned. Because if you study something new and then forget your previous lesson, you're not really learning so much. Right? So it's always really important to review identifying adverbs. And I put this one here precisely because I wanted to see if you guys caught it. All right. The reason that I put it here is also because I want you to see that the adverb modifiers can add intensity to an adjective. Okay. Make these bigger. All right. So, for example, we can say she is incredibly talented. Mm-hmm. So it's adding intensity through the verb and the adjective, incredibly. Or you could, of course, just say she is very talented. Caliban says the words to, enough, very, and extremely are examples of adverbs of degree, of course, but they are modifiers, or they can be used as modifiers to emphasize the adjectives or other adverbs or other verbs. All right, that's a very good clarification, Caliban. They are, or many of them are adverbs of degree, right? Many of them. However, some of them can only be used as modifiers. For example, very. Very is not an adverb of degree. Or well, it is technically, but it cannot be used independently on a verb. We cannot say, I very run, you know? So even though they are adverbs of degree, yes, they need to be used to modify an adjective or another aspect of the sentence. For example, I run very quickly. Mm-hmm. So you needed to modify something else. Mm-hmm. But good, they are adverbs of degree. Lilith asks, or can we say talentedly? No, we can't, because talent is either a noun, talented is the, it's called a participle adjective, right? But there isn't any way, it doesn't have the base of an adjective, so we can't use it like that, right? And that's precisely why we have it like this, all right? So good. You guys, these are adverb modifiers. Incredibly, very, quickly, thoroughly. Kalipan also helped us with some examples. To, extremely, enough. So why don't you guys help me with some examples of adverbs that are modifiers, right? Adverb modifiers, you guys. Help me with some examples, and then we'll close, all right? So some of you guys were asking, hey, how can we join Cambly? How can we contact you? Well, like I said, I am a private tutor on Cambly, so the easiest way to reach me is just to send me a message on my Cambly profile. If you can't find my Cambly profile, you can just Google my name or search for my name on Cambly. Remember, guys, my name is Cuau. If you don't know how to write it, you can find it here. So go to the search bar on Cambly and type that, or you can just Google Cuau Cambly, Google my name, and I'm sure that's the first result that will appear. And from there, you can book a class with me and you can ask me anything you want about English. All right. So just Google that and my profile will appear where you can book classes. Okay. Speaking of which, remember, guys, that I'm not the only tutor on Cambly. There are a lot of other tutors that you can see. You can watch their videos also on the YouTube channel, and you can ask them for classes, whether it's private lessons like me or group classes that we have rolled out recently. Okay. And also, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a link or something to my profile in the description of the video. Okay. So check that out if you haven't already. And we're going to go along with some examples. She's incredibly excited about her new job, said Eun. Very, very good. Rona says, I'm very interesting. However, it should be interested, Rona. So it would be, I'm very interested to learn more. Okay. So very good. That's very, very, very good, Rona. And like I said, you can just search for me and I'll answer your questions. Farjana says, I quickly learned Chat GPT to upgrade my profile. Very good. Very, very, very good. Desi says, I highly recommend this method. Excellent. Very good one. Kalipan, thank you so much for your kind words. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Kalipan. Thank you so much. Yes. Rona, do you have a class to learn face-to-face? Yes, exactly. Yes. All of my classes are face-to-face, and that's exactly what I have been doing for a few years. That's my specialty, face-to-face private classes. All right. So guys, we're going to end it here. This was the part 2 of advanced adverbs. We studied some advanced aspects of the adverbs, but of course, there are a lot more. We might even do a part 3 one day, but it's something very obscure and very difficult. So we'll probably learn other different topics. Take care, you guys. We're going to say bye here. Kalipan says, awesome lesson. Thank you so much, Kalipan. Thank you, Omubanin. Thank you to all of you guys. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much. And we'll see each other soon. All right. So bye, guys. Bye, Farjan. Farjana, sorry. Bye, Duviesh. Bye, Erva. Thank you so much. Bye, Eun. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. It was a very interesting lesson. It was really interesting and it was really useful. Lydia says bye. Kalipan says bye. Take care, you guys. It's always a pleasure to see you here on Cambly. So, sorry, here on YouTube as well. But I hope to see you guys on Cambly. So whether it's YouTube, Cambly, or any other place, I hope to see you there. Just look for us. Watch the other videos, you guys. There are a lot of really, really valuable lessons that we have on here, and they're all free, so that's not something you can get in a lot of places. Bye, Antonio. Thank you so much, and hope to see you guys very soon. All right, so bye-bye. Take care. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.